Hello, my beautiful rock stars. It's your girl Rocqi, your revolutionary hippie from LifeIsRocqi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I got my subscribers to get monetized, so now I need these public watch hours. So please watch my long form videos, any videos that's over a minute long. Help me get these hours to get to monetization. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of my rock stars who have subscribed. All right, so today on my polyamorous journey, remember to check out that playlist, My Polyamorous Journey, as well as how I always knew I was polyamorous, and my most recent video, why this polyamorous woman only wants one man, or one penis policy for me, or something like that. But I'll put it in the description above, as well as put it at the end of the video. So make sure you check out those two to kind of understand my journey within polyamory. And then also check out my playlist Queer-ish, to understand my bisexual journey, as well as my poem Bi, B-Y-E. That's in Writing by Ashley Raquel playlist. And that poem is where I accepted myself as a bi polyamorous woman. So definitely check that out, and then I'll be sure to link that as well so you can see it as well. And then also, as far as my queer journey, I documented a lot of that on my It's So Real podcast with my husband. So I will put the links to those episodes in the description box below. So a lot to check out leading all up to this moment of why a triad is not for me. Okay. So that being said, let's get a drink of water before I start on this one. All right, so mind you, I didn't know that I was bi consciously until I was 26. Okay. So that being said, just FYI, I may start leaking. It's a thing. I'm breastfeeding my 6-week-old, about to be 7-week-old. So I don't have a bra on the breast pad, so it is what it is. But we'll see. It doesn't look like you can see it, but it is what it is. But anyways, so yeah, didn't know that I was bi consciously. Plenty of signs until I was 26. So in high school, in terms of my non-monogamy, the only threesome or group sex dynamic that I had considered was with me and 2 men. Now, the 2 men weren't engaging sexually. They were centering me. So check out the movie Savages with Blake Lively. I don't know the actor's name of the 2 men, but they play pretty much a polyamorous V, where the 2 men are best friends and they both have a romantic and sexual relationship with Blake Lively's character. Salma Hayek's in that movie, check it out. But that was like the most positive representation of a MFMV within polyamory. So definitely check that out, because not that that's what I wanted relationally, even though, again, check out my polyamorous journey content where I talk about most of my non-monogamy was with men. But this was strictly speaking to sex, as far as like a group interaction, because we didn't really have understandings of group interactions romantically back then. I don't know when Savages came out, but anyways, in high school, let me tilt this a little bit. Okay. In high school, threesomes we knew about. So my understanding, as I thought I was straight, was 2 men, 1 me, and they're not engaging in any sexual activity. It's just they're centering me. But the closest I got to that was my ex and his cousin. And mind you, we're in high school. We don't have a place to go. So it didn't really work out where we were able to do it all at the same time. It was more like back to back. And this is another video entirely, but I fully despise the language of running a train on a woman, because one, the just egotistical entitlement around them taking my power and consent is just disgusting. But anyways, if we had been all together, it would have been a group sex dynamic. It would have been a threesome. But men and their egos can't call it that because it doesn't include 2 women. So anyways, check all that in the comments below. Check it, because it will be deleted. Okay. Anyways, that was my first attempt at a threesome or a group sex dynamic. But yeah, didn't really work out. Didn't really have a place to have all that. Other factors happened that night where it just didn't go down. And then with the cousin, that was just a one night. Like I had talked to him a little bit before, but I didn't have any plans to engage with him further. But anyways, but it was actually really nice to see the different sexual styles of the two men, or boys at that point. But yeah, that was very interesting. But anyways, fast forward to college. Now in college, there was a lot more, like I was going to gay bars at that point. I had friends in high school who were bi, but now I had Black friends who were bi. So that's a difference, okay? White people can do whatever the fuck they want. Black people, we got a whole other history that's, again, another video. But it made it more acceptable to be friends with a black bi woman. So, and I don't even know if this conversation took place when I knew her. I don't even know. I can't remember. But with my ex in college, we talked about a threesome with a woman. However, I had stipulations around that. It was like, I gotta be drunk as hell. She has to be a woman who's not in broadcast journalism, English, or psychology departments, because I didn't want to see her again. Now, mind you, and that's the departments I was in. Now, mind you, those departments are the finest women on campus, and business did as well. But that it wasn't gonna work because it was the finest woman on campus, but I didn't want to see him again. And that was going to the denial part. I wanted to have the threesome experience with a woman where I wasn't going to go down on her, but I was fully open for her going down on me. But I was in denial about my bisexuality, and that was me trying to be open in a safe space. Because like at that point, I was saying to my ex, like, about women who were attractive. I wasn't saying that I was attracted to them, but I was able to say, like, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, that kind of thing. And then there really was a sign my senior year where I was on some ecstasy, and woo, I was horny for a woman. It was like, how'd you not know? But anyways, that's when those two instances were where I wanted a threesome. Okay, now remember, polyamory does not center sex. It may or may not include sex. Like, there are asexual people within the polyamorous community. Some people have queer platonic relationships. Like, it's just a create your own relationship style, and not everyone has sex within it. Okay. So that being said, with polyamory centering love and emotional connections, let me get some more water. When I was first exposed to polyamory, again, it was on my bisexual journey. So it never, and honestly, it was a Triad who I originally started following. They were called Love on YouTube. I believe they had an Instagram too. They have since broken up. The two women are still together, but the man has separated from both women. And it was really sad too, because it was a man and a woman who were married, and they just got engaged to their girlfriend, and it was really sad. I had watched their whole journey since I embraced polyamory in 2018, so 5 years. It was just really sad. But anyways, even though like I had that representation, and of course, like, FMF triads are the most common in media exposure of polyamory. It wasn't something that was like, yes, that. It was, I'm bi, I want a man and I want a woman. I don't want to have to choose. And Then a year after I had embraced polyamory, I think I was watching more of Trifecta Love's content and just seeing how a triad, and mind you, there's a lot of controversy about triads, about ethical triads, because there's a lot of unicorn hunting, there's a lot of one penis policy, there's a lot of unethical ways people try to form triads. But at this time in 2019, I was seeing the genuine and organic nature of like one person just meeting someone. And then it's like they happen to meet their partner and they genuinely connect. And it could be like an equal connection and just everybody's connecting. It could happen, right? So at that time when it was like, it could happen, I was talking to my life partner at the time and I was like, yeah, where are you with this if it could happen? And he was open to it as well. So, universe. That is when I met the woman that we would attempt a triad with. So, I did not prepare this. I kind of just went with it, knew I wanted to talk about it. I should have prepared more. So we'll see how this reflective process is. So, I met her first, and she approached me. She's queer. And I think like we were texting each other, but it was finding a hard time to meet or find an event to go to or something like that. So I just invited her over to my house at like a month after I had originally met her. And so like when I first met her, I told her I was bi, told her I was polyamorous. We connected on where we were from. She said she was queer. I said I had a life partner. Like I said all that in the beginning intro of when we met. So when I invited her over to my house, I asked if she wanted to smoke marijuana. And I can't roll. My husband rolls. So I was like, is it okay if we smoke with him? Like asking consent, all that. Just to smoke together, right? So when she came over, we talked a little. Me and her talked a little. And then it was time to smoke. So then we went in my backyard and my husband was with us and we were all smoking. And it was like a lightning connection between them. Like I could see just the energy just going between them, right? However, she originally came over to see me. So when we were done smoking, I was like, it seems like there's a good vibe going. And I checked in with her. I was like, did you just want to hang out solely with me? Or do you want to keep him with us? Like, how's everybody feeling? And they both were like, they wanted to keep the energy flowing. They wanted to keep it going. So we all went back to my room. And again, it was just back and forth between them two. To the point that it was like, oh, okay, y'all are connecting clearly. I'm just going to back off. Now, where I was on my queer journey at this point was it was hard for me to figure out when I met a new woman if that was going to be a platonic connection, romantic, sexual. It was up in the air as far as me trying to figure that out. So I backed off entirely, was like, okay, basically my husband, that's you, like y'all have the connection, it's cool. Right? So that being said, okay. My neighbor is doing stuff and I was like, what are you doing up there? But, so I was like, that's cool. Right? To the point that, my husband and her met up, by themselves a different night. And, they did engage in some sexual activity, which was okay within our polyamorous dynamic. I knew that that they had a strong connection from the first time that they met. I could see it clearly. So I was like, yeah, do you. However, my husband was like, she's really interested in you. She really finds you attractive. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I know y'all was hitting it off, but she's into me too. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe we had just been talking about what if a triad opens up where she genuinely connects with both of us and we connect with her, and what if that happens, right? So I hung out with her by myself, and I had a very limited definition and understanding of queer sex, but we actually ended up having sex. And that was my first sexual experience with a woman. It was fucking amazing. Like, oh God. That was a hell of a way to have a first sexual experience. Yes. Definitely made me understand I am into women. That shit was fucking magical. Okay. But anyways, so it's like, all right, it's clear she has a connection with both of us. Like we're doing this thing, right? We're in this triad dynamic, this FMF triad dynamic, and here we go, right? Now this whole thing didn't last long. It was like maybe a month. And I found that, so my husband was like, we instantly, once we figured out like everybody's connecting, we created a group chat, right? And then my husband was kind of managing the conflicts that was arising, the questions that were arising, and things like that. But I found, and these are the reasons going into why I don't want a triad. These are the reasons that came up. It was within this attempted triad that showed me that I didn't want this. Even though like I was semi-open to threesomes before, I was open to the idea of a triad if it formed organically, like all that stuff. So he would have us meet all together to go over some of these issues that we're presenting, communication, stuff like that. One of the problems that I found with that is, one, she was an internal processor. She needed more time to process information, come to her own decision, that kind of thing. I'm an external processor. As you all can tell, I reflect, I figure out stuff on the spot, I'm talking it out, that kind of thing. And my husband's an internal processor too. Again, you see the alignment of them? So one of the problems was my husband and I were able to talk out some of the issues that were coming up, and we would just kind of spring it on her. We should have like, hey, these are the things we're going to be talking about, so she would have time to process, versus bringing it up in that moment and like waiting for an answer type of thing. She needed more time to process, but she was also younger than us, which we thought logically she was with us, but emotionally she didn't have as much experiences. And this was, back in 2019. So this was, 4 years ago. So it is like, we were new, we were a year into polyamory. So yeah, it was a lot of issues going on. But that's one of the things that I could definitively say, like, that was an issue, right? So there was that. And I didn't like that at all. I didn't like, basically my husband was managing one of my relationships, and I didn't like that shit. I was like, this is my relationship, I want to manage it, and like, he's the leader in the relationship between him and I because of his leadership skills and qualities. But I felt like he was meddling in my relationship with her, and I didn't like it. I didn't not like it. Okay. I know it needed to be done, but I didn't like the feeling that it was like, yeah, he was in my relationship. I didn't like it. And then when we met within the group dynamics, I could still see their energy to the point that I felt like a third wheel. Now, I wasn't always meeting up to talk about stuff. Sometimes she would be at the house with him, chilling on the couch. I would come home and just be like, hey, and I would sit there, type of thing. It was just, whenever I was in group dynamics with them, I always felt like the third wheel. Now, mind you, again, we're new to polyamory. My husband didn't know how to manage the NRE, new relationship energy. He says that's something that he's willing to work on, but because I was literally with my life partner and with the first woman that I had my sexual experience with, and they both were kind of ignoring me and centering each other while I was in the room, I never want to feel that again. That was a terrible feeling of like, I'm into both of these people. They're supposed to be into me, and yet I feel like, why am I here? I don't need to be here. yeah, that shit was rough. So that was really what hit the nail on the coffin. Like it felt unequal, so to say. And if I had to define it, I would say they had a romantic and emotional connection, and they were trying to make it sexual, whereas me and her was pretty much solely sexual. So it was unequal in the connections, right? Now, some triads, they do have whatever is meeting their needs, as well as it could be more equal as everybody's connecting in the same way. And I also realized with her that I didn't want to have casual sex with women. I found it plenty easy to have casual sex with men, meaning no emotion or no romantic interest. But I didn't want that with women. I'm already more emotionally desiring or needing more emotional connection with women. And I realized, yeah, I really do need that. And I also want the romantic connection. So the solely sex wasn't doing it for me. So I wasn't getting my need met. It wasn't equal in the types of connections that we were all connecting on. And then I felt like a third wheel with the two people I was supposed to be connecting with. And if anything, the fact that my life partner wasn't like, you know, bringing me into the conversation, including me, and when we were all together, it was again, he was not managing the NRE well. We've since talked about it, but now I practice parallel poly with my metas. I don't even want to be in the room because I don't need to be. If you have a relationship, cool. I don't need to be there. You know? So that was like definitively, oh, I don't want to do this triad ever again because I don't want it to be unequal connections. I don't want to ever feel like a third wheel with people I'm supposed to be in relationship and dating and fucking, you know, like I don't ever want to feel that shit again. But so that was like really the fear and the trauma aspect of I never want to do this shit again. But moreover, so she ended up ending things, and it was because she didn't have the capacity for two new connections at the same time. And it is a lot. If you start dating two new people at the same time, it is a lot of energy. But it was also like she just didn't have time. Like that meant, and we each wanted time with her. We started, my husband and I started competing with each other of like, well, I have this connection with her. Well, I have this connection with her. Well, I need to nurture this connection. So it was causing conflict within our relationship, which wasn't good. Cause she was like, okay, was that 2 nights out of the week? That's your weekend, you know, seeing these two people every week. So like, I understand she didn't have the capacity for it. But when I was by myself with her, not in my house, at her house, it was amazing. And I realized in that not only did I no longer want casual sex with a woman, or didn't have the capacity for casual sex with a woman, and wanted an emotional and romantic connection along with the sexual, was I don't need a man in my relationship with a woman. Like with the threesome in college idea, I needed that because I was in denial about my sexuality. But here I am having sex with a woman, and it's amazing, and I can do it by myself. Like I had accepted who I am, and I no longer needed a man anywhere near that interaction. I didn't need a man there. I didn't need a man managing that relationship. Like I don't want my husband anywhere near me and my woman partner. Like I want it to be me and her. And now I no longer even desire a threesome. Later in life, after I have my first girlfriend, second, maybe life partner, I don't know. But right now, I don't want a threesome at all. Like I don't need it anymore. I can be with a woman on my own. So that's kind of where I'm at. As far as why I don't want to be in a triad. I use triad because that's an actual term. Throuple is just monogamous people trying to make up words, even though I know all languages made up, but still, throuple is highly annoying. It's triad. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at. It was traumatic in the sense of feeling like the third wheel and then having someone manage my relationship, but more so the third wheel feeling felt terrible. But then it was also like, yeah, I can be with a woman on my own, sexually, romantically. Like, I don't need a man in my relationship with a woman. Now, mind you, triads are 4 different relationships. Okay. All right. I gotta wrap this up because my husband was with our baby, and he's asking me to do something. but yeah, it's A plus B, B plus C, A plus C, and A plus B plus C. 4 different relationships, right? But that A plus B plus C, where you have to factor in the group dynamics, I didn't want that. Okay. I'm cool if my woman and my man are on some kitchen table stuff, but as soon as you add the element of them being together, that's a whole different dynamic, and I don't want to be in that dynamic. Okay. I want my man and I want my woman, and I don't want them to be together sexually, romantically. I don't want that. To the point, at some point, out of fear, I was like parallel with them, but that's not actually realistic for my life because I have kids. Like, I want my woman partner to be a part of my life, and that means I'm gonna be here with my kids. So it is what it is. But and I know I still have some work to do on that trauma, but because essentially I had met the woman first, and that was also a thing that was in my mind when I was trying to process all this. And then, like, my husband had the connection with her, so it was feeding into a fear of that happening in the future and me not wanting them to meet because of that. But that's since changed now that I have a child. Like, it's really not realistic. If you want to hang with me, we're probably going to be hanging with my kids. Like, yeah. So yeah. But it is a point that a triad is a boundary. If I'm dating a woman and she meets my husband and they're connecting in a way that's they want to explore as sexual, romantic, emotional, what have you, then me and her are going to de-escalate. Because people are like, well, why not de-escalate with your husband? Because I'm more enmeshed with him. I have kids, house, finances, marriage, all that. Like, it's just, she's new. That is what it is, you know? But that's not fair to me. It's not fair to her. It's not fair to anybody. But I don't want to be in a triad dynamic. So, because yeah, I don't want a man in my relationship with a woman. I want my relationship with a woman to be on its own. I don't want to have to compete for time. Like, and that was the biggest thing. When I'm dating a woman, I want her to be coming over to see me. Like, I know for a fact she's coming over to see me. She could say hi to him, have a conversation, but she's coming over to see me. I'm the priority, essentially. And then, yeah, don't want the third wheel feeling. And yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I'm having a little bit of mom brain right now where I can't remember anything else, but I'll be sure to record a short or something later on if I forget it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Could you do a triad? What would be the makeup of that triad? Not all triads are FMF. And then also, would it be open or closed? Not all triads are closed. Polyfidelity is only for some of them. So yeah, I want a man and a woman. I want a FMFV, essentially. Or because I'm the middle, it would be a FFMV is the dynamic that I would like for me. Because yeah, it's just, I also don't want to see my husband with his partners. It's not something that makes me comfortable. You could do you, but I don't need to see it, hear it. Yeah, no. And then I just want to be with my woman and want to be with my man. So that is why I don't want to triad. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Sure, I got some emotional growth work to do, but that's where I'm at right now. And I just want a girlfriend, y'all. That's where I'm at. I got my husband. I just want a girlfriend. But yeah. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and then again, watch more of my long form content to help me get monetized up in here. And feel free to like just put the playlist on, press play, turn the thing on mute, let it run. Okay. But again, I'll be sure to tag all of the videos that I talked about earlier, how I always knew I was polyamorous, why I only want one man, even though it kind of said it in this, but I still give a lot more backstory, as well as my whole polyamorous journey and my bi poem where I accept myself as bi and polyamorous. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to take care of you. Light and love.